Hello and welcome to Business at Tiffany's. I'm your host, Tiffany Johnson, and today we are talking about one of the biggest fears that people around the world have, and that is speaking in front of others. And I don't mean a general conversation, but I'm talking about presenting on a stage or maybe in front of a team when you're delivering some news or even a training program, or a business owner that needs to present or pitch in front of a client or prospective client. These are things that, for some reason, make people nervous. And today we're going to talk about some key tips and tools that can help you overcome that barrier. That way you can get on track, be more confident in your presentation, and just polish up those skills. So I'm going to tell you a little story about when I first started. That was back in high school. I was in debate. I can present in front of anybody, anywhere, any day, and did not get nervous. But then something happened when I became an adult. I don't know if it was the reality of it or knowing that there might be eyes judging or whatnot, but my anxiety level increased. I was nervous, perspiring. Yuck, I know. But these were things that were occurring. So a couple years ago, I joined the Speakers Club and I thought, hey, you know what? I'm a presenter, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a trainer. I need to hone my speaking and presentation skills. So I joined the Speakers Club and I was prepared. It was my time. I volunteered. My hand shot up as the first one to volunteer to present that next week. And I was excited. I had studied, I had, gone over all of my presentation, where I was going to pause and how I was going to do different movements and expressions. And then the time came. I stood in front of the group, all eyes were on me, and all of a sudden my mind went blank. There was no one home. And if you know what I mean, it was embarrassing. Again, my knees were shaking, my voice started to quiver, and even though I had recited the information and knew everything by heart, I still spent the majority of my time looking at my notes. I was afraid that I was going to forget something that was important. And keep in mind, this was only a 3-minute speech, so it wasn't even long. But the idea was that this anxiety of presenting in front of others hit me again. And so I learned a couple of things, and I want to share those with you today. So grab your pen and paper and be ready to take some amazing notes on some tips that can help you polish your presenting skills. So first, what I learned is that I needed to become passionate about the content. So one of the things that I found is that even though I'm licensed to present content that other creators had made, it wasn't my own. And so it was missing that one key ingredient, which was me. I had to start implementing and inserting my own stories, my own personality, my own excitement level, my own tones and volumes and facial expressions, and all of these different things to make this material my own, which eventually resulted in me creating my own content. Because when you start adding so much of you into the presentation and being passionate about that content that you're presenting, it really does become your own. So the next thing that I realized is that I needed to record myself. What better way to take a look and critique yourself than to record? And who's the best critique of yourself? Yourself. So I recorded a couple of the mastermind groups that I had presented, and I went back and reviewed them that night. So they were fresh in my mind. I could kind of go back and relive those moments. And I took special notes of when I was fidgeting, when I would make great big hand gestures, when I would say filler words like and so and other words that were continuously brought up. Those words actually annoyed me probably as much as they annoyed the people that were there. So I learned to get rid of some of those words, be more aware of them, and that way I could easily take them out of the vocabulary when I was presenting. The other thing that I learned is that I fidgeted with my hair a lot. So I would take the ends of my hair and I would just twirl them. And I thought, wow, that does not reflect confidence at all. So there were several different things that I was able to hone in on and be able to improve on. And I didn't take drastic measures. I learned from one video. I said, okay, I'm not going to play with my hair in this next session. So that next session, I would pay very close attention. Anytime I go up to grab my hair, I'd put my hand down. And once I started practicing that and making myself aware of that movement, then I noticed that the next one, I didn't even touch my hair. So each time I would record myself and I would make those improvements based off of the previous video. So that's my second tip for becoming a better and more prepared speaker is just record yourself, take note, and be critical, but also don't be harsh. Remember, just take one thing from that video and transfer that into something that you can improve on. You don't need to fix everything overnight. Just take one thing, improve on it, and then once you improve on that, go back and try again on the next level. So the next thing that I learned is to get feedback, honest feedback. So there's a lot of feedback, but the last thing I wanted was for somebody to come into my groups and say, oh, Tiffany, you did a fantastic job. I'm just so proud of you. And then my attendees actually think something completely different. So what I did was I had some of my closest, most honest friends attend these different masterminds and different courses that I was presenting. And I asked them, I said, give me some honest feedback. What are some things that I can work on? Now, don't be harsh, but provide me with some honest feedback. And when I did that, I had to be sure that I had an open mind and was receptive to that feedback, knowing that they are giving me the feedback based on love and based on wanting to help me to grow. It wasn't to criticize me and to put me down and make me feel like I shouldn't continue my job as a presenter, coach, or speaker trainer. It wasn't that at all. But I needed to respect the feedback they were presenting because I was asking for it. And some of the things that I figured out was don't look at the screen, even though you can see all those cute little pictures of people on the Zoom calls. Don't look at the pictures. Instead, look at the camera because then you're making eye contact with them no matter where they are. They could be over here on the screen, they could be down here on the screen. But as long as you are looking in that camera, you are making that eye contact. And that was perfect advice. Now that we're going more on Zoom and some of these other platforms, the virtual platforms, it's important to know where to keep that focus. And keeping that eye contact is critical in building those relationships. Now, it does have its cons because you can't see the body language, you can't see them rolling their eyes unless you're looking at them on the screen. So there are some disadvantages, but you can also listen to their tone of voice when they are responding, and there are other ways that you can listen. But when you're presenting and when you're talking, look into the camera, and that way you can polish your presentation skills at a virtual level. And when you are presenting in person, of course, have those spots throughout the room. You may start at one end and touch eyes with different people at different levels. And then as you go around the room, then you come back and you start looking at them in the opposite direction, but ensuring that you are making that eye contact with people throughout the room. So this will also help build the confidence. Also, it will give you more credibility because they're going to be trusting what you say. Eye contact is one of the tools that you can use to build that trust. So anyway, going back to the feedback, that is something that you can do to get honest feedback from the people that are closest to you, your friends, your family. And if you have a really good relationship with your employees, you can even ask them after the fact, hey guys, I'm trying to increase my presentation skills. Is there any feedback that you can provide me so that way I can continue my growth as well? And then also remember that it's okay not to be perfect. You might say you might play with your hair, you might scratch, you might do other things. Just try to be aware and make those improvements on the next presentation. Remember, it's not a race, it's a marathon. It takes time to build, to hone those skills, and to be a better presenter. But always remember that as long as you are, again, comparing yourself to yourself from the day before, then you'll be okay. Just continue to improve, be aware of the opportunities for improvement, and don't be so hard on yourself. If you mess up in one presentation, just know you're probably judging yourself much harsher than your audience. So just keep going, show up, and keep doing your best and improving and putting one step in front of the other. Until next time, know that I believe in you. Take care.